Hi, this is Monique Stevens, and this is Quilttube number 11. I am part of the Moneik Quilts YouTube channel, and I also have Quilt Moneik on Instagram. Today I'll be sharing a few of the different things that I've been doing over the last couple months because I haven't had time to show a video or make a video in the past couple months. And yet when I look back, I had been doing a lot of bags and purses. So today I'm going to share with you some of those finishes as well as show you some of the works in progress. You'll see behind me that I have two panels. These are baby girl quilts, and I literally put pink minky that has a little bit of glitter on it on the backing, and then I quilted the quilt panels to this pink minky, and it makes really fast, fun baby quilts, and the mothers just love to be able to take pictures on these month, week, year baby quilts. And so this is something that was quick and easy to quilt on Thanksgiving weekend. One of the classes that I taught this fall was called the Anna bag, and I used this gala canvas in the teal. I used some Tula Pink webbing, and I used pink leather on the bottom. I did embroider the M on this bag, and this was a class that I taught at the sewing center. So it's called the Anna bag. Again, Tula Pink webbing made a really nice handle for it. On the back side, I put another pink pocket. These are of grunge fabric, but you can see that it's a simple side pocket. In the inside, I just have pink grunge. No pockets, just a simple lining. I did not use the alternative zippered top on this bag. I just made it as a tote bag. Makes it really simple, it makes it really fun, and it's a great project. I had several in the class, and almost everyone got to the stage where they were top stitching their lining. So a quick, fun bag you can personalize with embroidery, or you don't have to. Right about fair time, I decided, I'm gonna get my Amethyst Project Bag done. So this is a Sew Sweetness pattern, and I have made a lot of these, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see that there's a top zipper pocket here. There's elastic to put your rotary cutters and small pens and stuff in, a mesh pocket, and then you can hold fabric projects in with the elastic and the snap. So this is called the Amethyst Project Bag. It is about 12.5 inches square. So it's a great bag to hold projects, or you can also put blocks in it when you're making blocks for a quilt. So on the back, on the front, it is the purple version of the Tula homemade line or handmade line, and I really love these project bags for carrying projects back and forth. And so I also made a set of Open Wide. Open Wide is a by Annie quilt, and it is a bag that's quilted. I did not put the optional mesh pockets on the inside. I found from some of the other Open Wide bags that I have made, I never actually use those mesh pockets, and more often than not, things were catching on them. And so I chose not to put those in. This is the large size. I also made the medium size and the small size. So I have these Tula handmade bags that are a matching set of the Open Wide by Annie, and I put these in with my sewing stuff. So they're a great size to have my different sewing notions and things in. And I also have the Everyday, Every Which Way big bag from by Annie that is matching to these. So now I have a whole set of sewing notions and things that all match this particular line of fabric, which was kind of fun for me. I did make some project bags. So this is the little mini one. I also made the really big one as well, but it's holding a project right now. So these project bags by Annie are the perfect size for putting little projects in. For instance, I had some squares in this morning. So other things that I have been doing, I made journal covers. So I really wanted to cover some journals that I had received as gifts. And so this is just a yellow batik that I used for a journal cover. This is kind of the A5 journal size. So it's a nice little book. I can take it with me to meetings, and it is in a yellow batik. I also was at SDHEA convention, and we needed a prize for our Survivor themed game. We were really fortunate to have Holly Hoffman as our Survivor guest speaker for our keynote and our closing speaker. And we played a game that talked about Survivor throughout the conference that my friend Whitney and I planned. And so the prize that all of the team members won was a journal cover. So these are really simple journal covers. They're made out of kind of a canvas fabric, and I literally didn't even line them. I just turned the insides and top stitched around the edges. And so a really great, easy journal cover. And then I was able to give these as gifts. I also have some of the composition size books. So I made a yellow and blue book composition notebook cover. I did include a pocket here for my pen, and these are great to have at work. So of course it's yellow and blue for SDSU, and so that's been kind of fun. Side note on our SDSU football team, we made it into the quarterfinals this weekend, so that's pretty exciting. We're the #1 seed in the FCS right now, and so always showing my yellow and blue pride as well. And then Christmas is coming really quickly, and Michaela started in middle school now, and Matthew is in 4th grade, so he has 3 teachers. Michaela has 6 or 7 teachers, and then we've got 4 or 5 religion teachers. So I figured out that we were going to need 15 teacher gifts. If you've been following me very long, you know that I make a lot of bags and purses for those teachers, usually at Christmas, and then I also follow up with a quilt at the end of the year. Well, with this many teachers, not thinking I'm going to do quilts for everybody, but I did decide that I was going to make these cute little zipper bags. So we went to Hobby Lobby. We found some canvas, and Michaela bought a few yards of it. She bought the end of the bolt, which was about 3 yards, and we cut out these cute little bags that are a dog canvas print, and then we used the By Annie zipper by the yard in a blue. Side note, both kids have blue as their color for their schools, and so it worked perfectly to do these for all of the teachers, and then they all have kind of a blue solid lining, or it's a print, but pretty simple, pretty easy, just a very small bag that they can put their pens or, maybe some accessories in, especially if they take stuff back and forth to school. I thought that these were really cute. And if you know Michaela loves her puppy dogs. And so this will be a really fun gift for all of those teachers. I'm thinking even the bus driver might be getting one. This is the first year that we've had the bus, and so I think it will be a nice gift for both male and female teachers, as well as those that share her love of puppies. So I've been working on these. I think I'm down to about 10 left, but if you do a few each week, then it's not so much at the end. This case is one of the kind of big projects that I worked on. Not big in that it took a little bit of time, but big in that it was a new pattern for me. So I follow Mrs. Jones Stitches on Instagram, and her mom was making these flora and fauna cases, and it's kind of a supply case. It has a center zipper pocket, and then it has a top pocket as well as a tiny mesh pocket. And so I was just determined that I was going to use this tiny beast from Tula Pink fabric, and so I have the pockets in that as well as the front and back are that. So I literally quilted a fat quarter and then cut the fat quarter out and then made the inside. So this is just a really nice little supply case, and I just love the size of it. It fits my Creative Grids ruler mat perfectly. So for instance, when I'm doing a lot of trimming, small cutting, I use this little Creative Grids mat in this bag with a small ruler, a little marking pen, and then my rotary cutter, and I can cut a lot of things out when I'm on the go. So this was a new supply case that I really enjoyed making, and it works really well for my cutting supplies. In my quest to find more journal covers, I found this A5 journal cover pattern, and so this was a new one for me. It's a free pattern that I found online, and it has a elastic for a pen. I put my journal in it. I went to a conference for UPSEA this fall, and I think every vendor gave us a journal. And so this fits the A5 journals, and it's a really neat, handy little journal cover. And so, you know, again, matches my sewing supplies, and it's one of my favorites. So this is a new journal cover that I made, and again, it's called an A5 journal cover, and there is a YouTube video that you can watch to kind of get the directions. There's a free pattern, and then you can make it yourself. Again, I just quilted a lot of this fabric and then cut it out of the quilted material. So those are kind of all the things that I have been working on over the past 3 or 4 months that actually got finished. And I really didn't do any full-size quilts. I didn't do really a lot. I made a few bags. I don't have the bags that I made for my fabulous hairdresser AJ, but she loves owls and she loves purple, so I used this new moon garden with the purple on the owls, and I made her an A5 journal cover as well as a little cosmetic bag from this fabric. And again, I took it a couple fat quarters and I quilted it and then cut the items from this fabric, and I gave those to her for Christmas this week. So again, fun fabric that I quilt up on my mid-arm, and then I make different bags and purses from the fabric. So that was something that I made for her this week. I've been working on some projects for some of my girlfriends, sewing friends, and so I took this Tula Pink, Tilda fabric for a friend who loves the Tilda line. I found it on one of my trips, and I was like, ooh, I think my friend would like this Tilda fabric. So I have this fat quarter all quilted, and it is ready to make into something. I'm thinking maybe an A5 journal cover and then a little accessory bag to go with it, because a lot of my friends don't make the bags like I do, so they always appreciate some neat little bags. But again, it's quick and easy to quilt the fabric up and then be able to make projects out of it. So kind of my haul. This past week I bought a couple of 1 yard cuts, which were really pretty. This is a pretty purple. I bought a couple for the kids for Christmas. They've been really into doing some different projects as well, so I got them each a piece of fabric. And then Michaela wants to make a backpack. So this is the binding of the backpack, and then I have the fabric all quilted up and waiting for her when she's ready to cut it out and make the backpack for her 4-H sewing project. Matthew's been really busy sewing as well. He made a pair of MLB fleece pants. He made them all himself so that he can enter them in 4-H. He also made a pair of racing car shorts, and he has all but the elastic in those. So he's been doing a lot of sewing. He also made a little Chiefs blanket for his teddy bear, and so that was pretty exciting to see him really grasp on to spending some time in my sewing room and sewing with me. So this past weekend we celebrated Matthew's 10th birthday. Can you believe I have a 10 and an almost 12-year-old now? And I have been sewing a lot longer than that, but the kids really do enjoy sewing as well, so I've been helping them do some 4-H project sewing. But this last weekend we rented a cabin at Heart Ranch and took the boys out there to spend the weekend for their birthday party. And I worked on these Nightingale blocks. So I have Nova fabric, and I've been collecting this for a long time, and I've already made a quilt out of it, but now I'm using the scraps to make some Nightingale blocks. And Nightingale is a pattern that I purchased as part of a sew along a couple years ago. So I've already made this quilt once in a different fabric line, but I decided that I wanted to make it out of this Nova fabric. So this weekend I made 10 of these blocks as part of the project that I was working on. I already had 6 made, and then last night I finished up 3 more of them, as well as I was able to get the rest of them all marked. So I think if I figured out right, I have about 30 blocks total that I'm making, and I'm going to make a queen size-ish bed cover for our bed, and I'm going to put maroon minky on the back. That's kind of my favorite part or favorite color from this Nova line, is the kind of maroonish color in these blocks. And so I'm busily working on these blocks because now I have a plan. I originally started out to make it 20 to just make a throw quilt, just because I had the fabric and I loved it. And then when I decided I wanted a minky quilt for our bed, I didn't want it a full-size queen, so I decided that I was going to make just a few more blocks. I wouldn't make it a full queen size, but I would make it pretty good size so that it would fit on top of our bed. So I've been working on those, you know, bits and pieces over the last several months. I've also been working on Nantucket summer bags. So Nantucket Summer was a fabric line, and there's a free pattern online. It's called Nantucket Summer, and it has these mini charm bags. So there's like 3 different versions. You can make it out of solid fabric, you can make it with half of a charm pack, you can make it with a full mini charm pack. And so I made 4 of these pieces that are out of scraps of fabric. I know it's a Bonnie and Camille line. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it is all scraps that I had. So I have 4 of these bags. The outside pieces made. I have the linings all cut and everything. I mean, the zippers are even with it. I just haven't got them sewn yet. So that's something that I'm working on. I originally was going to do those for Christmas presents, but they got a little more detail intensive than I expected. So I have not finished those, but I'm sure I'll find somebody to give them to. My other work in progress is I've been working on some jeweled heart English paper piecing. I'm trying to make a table runner, so right now I'm just making strip sets that are going to go together. So I flew to Columbus, Ohio. I went to Sioux Falls for the SDHEA conference. And so each time I was traveling, I was doing some of these English paper piecing jeweled hearts. I've been working on these for about 3.5 years. And so I'm trying to get them into a table runner size. It's pretty slow going just because I'm not working on it a significant amount, but I did get 1.5 strip sets sewn together. So that's kind of been my travel English paper piecing project. I also did some English paper piecing demonstrations at the Sewing Center over the Veterans Weekend as well. And then my latest work in progress is the Bonnie Hunter Mystery Quilt. So Chilhowie is the mystery quilt for this year. This is Clue 1, and so I did the 9 patches as well as the 4 patches. I have those all done. And then Clue 2 is some, I call them house blocks. So I have those almost completely done. I have a few I want to re-sew, and I've been working on those pretty strong this week, making sure that I get them done. And so I'm excited to have those completed and to keep going. The other thing that I'm doing as a work in progress is I'm making a star quilt out of, I'm making a skirt out of a star quilt. So I'm making the star quilt skirt as though it's a ribbon skirt for one of our instructors. She's defending her dissertation next month, and so she asked me to make a star quilt skirt for her as though it was a ribbon skirt. So I'm really excited to be working on that specific project. I'm also doing some major t-shirt quilts, so 3 major t-shirt quilts for Christmas presents, and so those have been taking up quite a bit of my time, but eventually they will be done and I can move on to some other projects as well. So I've really had some significant sewing time. It just doesn't seem like I made any full-size quilts, and I didn't. I really just did a lot of bags and purses, a lot of using up what I already had. I didn't have a lot of major purchases, you know, some glue sticks here and there, maybe some needles. Michaela's really trying to get into English paper piecing as well, and so I did have a few of those, but it's really not been full-size quilts this fall. And again, most of that's work related. I'm just so busy that I'm not having a lot of excess time, and then making some other projects for other people has also taken up some of my time. So that's kind of an update from me, and I hope that you've enjoyed this Quilttube and have learned about some of the projects, and I will link descriptions to those projects in my YouTube video in the comments below, so you can see a little bit more about where some of those patterns were found. And if you have questions, feel free to comment, like my and subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I'd love to have some more subscribers. And if you know me, you know that quilting is my passion, but it's also finding that passion for you and helping others. And so I've spent a lot of time this fall helping others find their passion as well. And so thank you for taking the opportunity to view my Quilttube. This was my goal for the year, was to do Quilttubes once a month. I didn't quite make it, but I have been pretty consistent and actually recording Quilttubes, and I thank you so much for joining me. And if you have questions, again, leave them in the comments below. And thanks for watching Quilttube number 11 from Moneik Quilts.